Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Yes, it's a big hello and welcome everyone to this week's episode of the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. I'm Steve Beech, and of course joining me as always is Dave Parkinson. Tonight we have another jam-packed show filled with exclusive match highlights, interviews and all the latest from the National Conference League.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. Episode 12. Where did the previous weeks go? Wow, we've got some exciting content coming your way, including a look back at Wigan St Judes' impressive win over Stanningley, interviews with all the key figures, and a focus on the amazing work that Shawcross Sharks are doing for Prostate Cancer UK. Plus, we'll be chatting with other names in the NCL, including Saddleworth Rangers' new head coach, Miles Greenwood.
Well, we'll kick things off tonight with what was a thrilling encounter in the Division 1 match between Wigan St Judes, who hosted Stanningley at the weekend, and what a game it was. And let's have a look back at the key moments of that match.
So ball moved into the middle, long ball from Parker out to Stroud. Stroud keeps it moving left, good ball from Butterill, lovely hands, and the diving in at the corner. Alex Ryan touches down. That was absolutely superb, coming across to the left hand side. Harris Davison with almost a no look pass to get the ball out there. Big Ryan Duffy is on for St Judes as well. He's packing down in the scrum. Judes feed it and it comes out. Oh, it's Cassidy who kicks it forward. They're chasing after it. Who's going to get it? It bounces up. They're going in. And it's Connor Parkinson who picks it up. It was all kicked forward by Cassidy. Nobody was at home at the back. Great bit of play. And when you've got someone with the pace of Connor Parkinson, then ultimately, at times, there's only one winner. The ball moves down this right-hand side to Danny Cassidy, who links with Connor Parkinson, who steps back and takes the inside track, gets away from one, bursts into the backfield, feeds it out. Oh, it's going to be a try for Wigan St Judes. And following up at the shoulder of Connor Parkinson, his brother Harry, and he goes in for what could prove an important score for St Judes. It stretches the advantage, Steve, out to 16 points to 4. There's Baker. Running, twisting, spinning. Getting involved just before was Adam Lavin. Fallon sends it right. Cassidy, little kick through the line. Will it sit up? It will sit up. They're going to score.
It certainly is, yeah.
And it's awarded. I think it's Palmer who scored. Not 100% sure on that one. Just going to try and clock his number. Yeah, it was Kyle Palmer who has scored that try. Because they need something here, really, to Stanningley. It's the first time they've been down there. Henry. Oh, it was a lovely little pass as well, but it's been put down. And here's Townend. Townend taking them all on. He'll go through. Like a hot knife through butter. Townend picking up Stanningley's second try. Makes it 16 points to 8 with the kick to come. Oh, and a good ball from Stroud out to Sykes, who manages to smuggle the ball out to Butterill, who links with Henry. Henry goes for the post, goes for the line, scores. Deserved that. That is a brilliant try for Stanningley. He was never ever giving up there, was he?
No, 21, just coming up to 21 minutes in the second half.
Dion Henry has been absolutely magnificent
for Stanningley. Yeah. And from a defensive point of view, they've managed to put the pressure on there and have come up with the knock-on from Stanningley.
Garrido has gone onto the field. Back onto the field, I should say. Yeah. They attack the blind side. Brady out to McNally. McNally for the corner.
Wonderful setup.
Move from the scrum, and McNally crosses at the corner. That was a beautiful setup play, wasn't it?
Yeah, 30 minutes gone there, Parker, and again from the scrum.
Fallon pointing off to the left, which means he'll probably come to the right, and he picks up Cassidy, and Cassidy goes right up the guts. Takes on two players, twisting and turning. Can he get his way over the line? He's got it down. I think that's the game now for Wigan St Judes. Cassidy comes up with the goods just when they're needed. And the whistle sounds from our match official to signal the end of the game. So with that final kick, it makes it 32 points to 16. Yeah. So it's going to be fed this scrum by Stroud. Got to ask you, Dave, what's your thoughts on that one? 32 points to 16.
Yes, I certainly don't think that reflects the game. I thought there was a really good side. Pushed us hard in middle, really good completion, really good in defence, but I think we just had probably that too much single skill, so lads who can turn up and do things like Danny just turned up there and took it probably just away from him, but I don't think we was at it today. I think we was poor to our standards.
You think so?
So yeah, that's why I've come over to you, because I want
okay,
get back in there.
You want to get back in and sort of have your say,
and obviously speak to him about what I thought and what we need to be better. We definitely need to be better than that.
What did you do well in that game?
I think at times when we were direct and we were completing, all our good stuff came up back of that. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of, I thought it was a bit clunky in our attack today, but like I said, we was probably 60-70% there today. I'm not saying we was far from our best. You
had a couple of late changes where you had to swap things around, Laughing going in, starting. There was no Adam Jones in the end.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a whirlwind that last 5 minutes. So obviously before kick-off, as I've gone in about 5 minutes before the end of the warm-up, and then coming to me saying Adam Jones has snapped his Achilles, we need a replacement. So straight away, obviously I'm like, well, who is there? So Dean, my assistant coach, says, well, James Worthington down there is registered, but he's carrying an hamstring injury. So I went, well, tell Worthy go and get his boots on. So then next minute, Aaron Smith turns up, who'd also been working, who obviously he was there. So I said, I'll leave Worthy. I said, get Aaron stripped and get Aaron ready. So we ended up getting Aaron ready instead. So luckily we had lads there who could jump on, and I think he played alright when he came on, Aaron, to be fair. But
in a way, that's some resilience that you've shown in that, because that's things like that happening right near a kick-off. They can tip the scales, can't they?
It was a mad 5 or 10 minutes before game, so glad for we managed. Like I say, luckily we had lads here who could put a shut on.
I know you do want to get in, but I just want to ask you one more question, because I mean, for me, I thought the time that you got Kenny Baker probably stood up and was probably one of those players that kind of got you back on track again.
Yeah, I think he injected himself into the game well, Kenny, when he came back on. Did a lot of work that first half, so 5-10 minutes into the second half, I gave him a breather, but when he came back on I thought he was really good. Ryan Duffy give us that go forward we needed as well, so I think making them changes probably with 20 minutes left at game, I think that was probably the difference in end that probably took it away from them, and we just got that momentum back what we'd been struggling with all game.
Congratulations on the win. I'll go and let you have this word that you want with your team, but no doubt we'll see you again through the season, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you so much.
Steve. Cheers, mate.
Well, I'm with Reece. Reece, got to say, that was a good win in the end. 32 points to 16. You sort of blew away the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, got a few late tries, didn't we, which I think obviously made the scoreline look a little bit better. Plenty to improve on, to be fair, from us today, but 2 points is the main thing, isn't it?
Is that a good thing? That you can perhaps play at like maybe 60-70% and know that you've still got some to go?
Yeah, definitely. I think if we're reflecting and we're identifying improvements, it's a good thing, like you say. Once we take them off, I think blow some teams out the water and perform really well.
I just said to Dave Myerscough before, I said, there was some disruption just before the start of the game, because you had Adam Jones down to play, who then picks up a freak injury.
Yeah.
You're then scrambling round to get somebody in the team. Adam Laffin steps up. I mean, those type of things, they build resilience time as well, don't they?
Yeah, I think he got injured in literally the last part of the warm-up. So
have you ever known anything like that before?
I've not experienced it myself before, but I think what we managed to do afterwards, in terms of Lavin just rolling straight in and having someone else who could drop on the bench who was just in attendance watching, shows the strength and depth we've got this year, which I think is a massive factor across the board. We can lose players through injuries or any other absence and just roll a player in who's of equal ability.
Obviously I've seen Judes a few times really over this last 2 or 3 years, and again I think it sparks volumes and speaks volumes of sort of where you're heading as a club with regards to, you're talking about these type of things that are thrown in that a few years ago might have upset the apple cart and now they don't.
Definitely. We've got consistency. I think that's the main thing. I've been down here a good few years now and I've played alongside these lads for years, and I think that's started to come to fruition now, that that consistency across the park.
And in a way, you're all getting to the best part of your careers, aren't you?
Yeah. We're all at a good age. And yeah, we're performing well. We're putting it together. We know where people are running. We've got that sort of that understanding of one another's game.
Just one more question, and it's the fact that there's been some experience that has come in. You know, I know we mentioned Adam getting injured, but he's one of those players that I was thinking, you know, brings a lot of experience. Kenny Baker's come down as well. What else do they sort of bring with the backgrounds that they've had?
Obviously ability. First thing, isn't it? The great players. Leadership, just a bit of insight from their experiences, like what they bring to training is brilliant. Just that intensity, skill. And I think that brings everybody else up to a better level and higher level.
Cheers.
Rugby League's secret weapon, Green Cooling, scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
There you go. That was Parky talking to Reece Matthews at the end of Wigan St Judes. Parky, I've got to say, I mean, we've been down there a couple of times now commentating on games, and obviously just watching some of the games from the early times when we first started the show. And it's still an absolutely, you know, I don't think we've had a bad match there to watch, have we? You know, they've been really, really, I mean, as much as that score is what it is, Dave Myerscough was right. That wasn't, you know, sort of, if you saw that score, you'd say, they've won it.
Yeah.
It was nowhere near that, was it?
I was quite surprised at Dave's reaction, actually, but I suppose we look at it from a different point of view, don't we? You know, so we appreciate the rugby that gets played, and, you know, when we go to the matches that we go to, we don't really favour a team, do we? We just want to see a good match, and we want to be able to broadcast a good match. And we got a really, really good match. However, putting a sort of like a slightly different hat on, that would also suggest that he is right in what he says, because there were some really good individual performances which kind of pulled them out and made them be better than perhaps they were in the whole collective.
Yeah. And
does that make sense?
It does, because I think during the commentary, if I remember rightly, we were watching, and they were actually in the lead. They had control of the game, and there's a part where they were throwing the ball about, and there was no real need for it. And I remember I was saying, calm down, and that's all it really needed at the time, was somebody to say, look, let's just take a couple of drives and a kick, something like that, just to, you know, ease things.
Yeah, and there was a period of about 4 or 5 sets where they did something very similar.
Right.
When it got to 16 all, and it was like they were almost. It was like, we've got to win the game again, you know. But there's different ways in which you can win and win control of games back, isn't there? You know, and ultimately they did that on the back of, you know, some brilliant work from the likes of Cassidy and Parkinson, and, you know, Fallon at 9 as well. I thought was really good. You know I was big in commentary talking about Baker. Yeah. You know, so Kenny Baker, I thought he's second spell when he went back on, I thought he was awesome. He was almost unplayable, and he just showed what an asset he will be to Wigan St Judes this season, you know, with all that experience that he gained from the pro ranks.
Yeah, the lads were talking there, obviously, and you mentioned about the disruption that they had there just before the game was starting, but to be able to bring a bloke like Aaron Smith in, it's absolutely huge.
Well, I think I was telling you the story, wasn't I? You know, and I'm quite happy to repeat it on our podcast, really, to be fair, Steve, in that I toured Serbia with Aaron a few years ago when he was playing for Lancashire. Yeah. Cracking fella, great bloke, got all the time in the world for Aaron. And it was basically a two-match tour, if you like. So they played against Red Star Belgrade and then against a Serbian select. So Aaron has an outstanding game against Red Star Belgrade and earns the nickname Ivan Drago. You know, because he was just storming through him. He was just statuesque. I mean, you know the physique on the man anyway. Yeah. And the Serbians in the crowd really took him to the hearts. And to be honest, I think there was a few of them who started an Aaron Smith fan club, so they were all there for the following game when they played against the Serbian select side, which didn't have any Red Star Belgrade. But every time he took the ball, and you hear Super League matches where they go Sneed, you know, and they were going Ivan, Drago, you know. So that's what all them Serbian fans were doing.
But he was immense, and to be able to call on him, you know, put your boots on, lad, you're playing, absolutely superb.
But I think, like we said, you know, that especially at community level, that could really throw a side, couldn't it?
Could be disruptive,
It could
certainly.
be really disruptive because, you know, you've had 2 training sessions and, you know, you've gone like that. But I think in a way it shows the strength of squad that Wigan St Judes have now. And it's something that they've been developing over a number of seasons, you know, and they had to finish almost in the bottom reaches of Division 2 before they were able to bounce back. And obviously, for me, I'm going to call it early, you know, and I know this is really early. This is really early. I will be very surprised if they're not in the top 3, top 4 teams in Division 1 this season.
I mean, on that, watching that performance, if that's what Dave sort of says is a poor performance from them, if they can at least replicate that when they're at the worst, then they won't go far wrong. But obviously, for every winner, there's a loser, and we caught up after the game with the opposition coach, who just happens to be Ashton Golding.
Well, with Ashton Golding, Ashton 32-16, Rugby League's a cruel game, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. No, it was it was a good contest. I think it was a great showing of Division 1 rugby. I think we both went toe to toe. Probably the game changing was just, you know, their kicking ability and their halfback. So it was it was good. It was a good test early on in the season with a good outfit. So.
I thought you showed some good resilience, actually, you know, because at sort of 12-4, when they score right at the start of the second half, you could crumble, but you didn't.
No, the boys, you know, I questioned them. I just wanted to explain to them, like, what does toughness mean to them? You know, we could have gone toe-to-toe and started scrapping and fighting like most other teams, you know, in Division 1 and Division 2, Division 3, but we decided actually to play rugby. And it's probably the first time I've actually said this to the boys, and they've reacted well and they've done it, and we came through and we brought it 16-all again, and, you know, we're probably about 2 inches from going over again to take us in the lead, but it's just a cruel game like that. But we got next week, we've got to look forward to Egremont, trip away, another tough challenge. We've gone Kells, Judes, Egremont, 3 quality sides, and hopefully we can pick up a win on the road. But yeah, you know, we're upset, we're demoralised, but equally we understand that they're a good team and they're young and they're vibrant and they've got some ex-pros playing and all this lot. So we're just staying our lane, we'll keep doing what we need to do, and we'll get there.
Got to ask you as well, I mean, he's just walking past us actually, but Dion Henry, I thought he was magnificent actually. If anything, I think I said on our commentary, he reminded me a bit of Jamie Jones, because he's always there, he's always up for a carry, he's always up for a challenge, always up for a tackle.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think both the Henry brothers were quality today. I think they both offer such difference. I think Jamel's short bursts of intensity and Dion's longevity of minutes and just turns up, and he is just, you know, reliable, and we pride ourselves on the extra efforts and the effort areas, and players like him we put on a pedestal, because, you know, you can get players that are fancy and can kick a ball 70 metres and things like that, which we all need, but if you can, you know, build a team around players who just want to work hard, run hard, tackle hard, and actually want to play for the club and love the club, I guess at amateur rugby, what more do you want? You know, you want to celebrate people like that. So yeah, Dion for me is an outstanding athlete, and yeah, he'll go far.
Thank you, mate.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
How great was that to hear from Ashton? You know,
honest.
was really honest, and he was right in highlighting, because I mean, we didn't really appreciate the work that the other brother did, because and he was good in the spells what he had, so they used him almost like as a Palliacina type, didn't they, where they chucked him on for like 10-15 minutes at a time, then they'd give him 10 minutes off and then he'd go on for another 10 or 15 minutes, but he's right, you build your teams around those guys which are very consistent in all their actions, they're always at training, they love what they do, and I just thought that we saw someone there in Dion Henry through the game who for me, I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops, because he's obviously a young player, you know, both brothers are young, and it will be interesting to see where he could go, because he's the sort of player, to be honest, that if I'm a League One club, I'm looking at over the next couple of years for doing a job for me in my second row, because there was so much to like about the way that he went about his business. You know, the strong carries, the turning up for everybody, even for carries that really he shouldn't have been doing. He was there, he was at the shoulder, he was always in the action, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely superb. And what we've got to say is that, was it 15 of the 17 Stanningley players were actually have come through the junior ranks. Yeah. And that is the pathway working to its best, isn't it?
That's something to celebrate, isn't it? You know, and long may that continue. And I'm sure if we do, you know, like, because I think Siddle are very much similar, you know, in the way that they have a lot of the homegrown players. I bet if we were to do most NCL clubs, I bet we'd find that, because of the things that they have going on and the young talent that they have going through.
Yeah, and I think that was important, Parky, the fact that I know when they announced their squad on social medias, that was highlighted that we're juniors, and I feel that's something other clubs can learn from, because what happens then is your juniors see that,
you aspire to it, don't you?
And they're looking at it and thinking, hang on, you know, I mean, how many people have got through there? I mean, it's you know, it's a good promotional technique for themselves to youngsters.
Let's be honest as well, if you're not going down the professional or semi-professional route of rugby league, then the next thing is to be a player that represents the club for a long term, isn't it? You know, and as you said, I'm all for, you know, that type of stuff being highlighted in the community game. There's you know, there's a couple of clubs that do that really, really well, and certainly since there was actually a really, really nice comment that I received over the weekend, which was saying that all the clubs have upped the game on social media, and you see it, you know, I see it every single weekend, and it excites me because of what we've got going on. We've got a vibrant competition here, you know, and hopefully what we do just highlights that and pushes it that little bit more. Anyway, moving on.
I think that links nicely into our next piece, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah, because this weekend a true NCL legend was honoured for 27 years of dedication. Joe Fitzsimmons received a life membership award for his unwavering service. We caught up with Joe to reflect on his incredible journey with both Wigan St Judes and the National Conference League. Got to ask you as well, Joe, because I mean, you know, you were involved in setting this club up, you know, way back when. Could you ever envisage the spot where this club is now compared with when you were setting it up?
I'm going back 42 years ago when I was going to the Catholic club and met Tommy Martindale. Only me and Tommy left, and I said, let's put a team in the Kenji Cup, local competition. It was a big thing then. 42 years ago, winter rugby, etc. And I got players from St Pat's like John Sharple, Johnny May, Vinny Charnock. When we got to the semi-final of the Kenji Cup, we lost against eventually St Pat's, and then me and Tommy said, let's do a fancy putting going in the North West Counties Men's League. I said, yeah, we're going on that, and we went through that division two or three seasons because we had a strong team then, and then Tommy's motto was taking the club forward, so we said we've got to build our own clubhouse. So we got in negotiations with Whitbread Brewery, and they loaned us £55,000, a 10-year loan, and we paid it off in 7 years. And then everything's just snowballed from there, with the gym, the 3G, the assault course. Everything is just buzzing at present. It's been a lot of hard work, but I'm always looking for funding pots for grants and everything, and we've really got some good support from the World Cup grants. The 3 ward councillors really support us, and the local MPs. Josh, he is heavily involved. He helps us as much as he can. But yeah, we're really buzzing, and yeah, the motto is the club going forward, and we're going forward at present, and everything's buzzing. The club's doing well. Functions, 21st, everything. So yeah, and we've had plenty of good support since after Ward Councils, the MP, Sport England, that. So yeah, everything's good at present.
Oh, fantastic! It would be remiss of me also not to mention as well your long service with the National Conference League as well.
Yeah,
you know, so I mean that goes back many years, and the fact that you've been a rep for so many clubs and have flagged so many things up over the years as well, haven't you?
27 years. So where it is now, Peter passing away, God rest his soul, and Trevor stepping down. I thought it was only right us to get some young blood, and we've got some young blood in different lads. So yeah, everything's on that. I was sorry to go, but age is catching up with me. I'm 80 this year, but I'm still active down the club. But yeah, everything's. But I was very sorry to relinquish it, but age catches up with you, and your body tells you you can't do this and you can't do that. But yeah, 27 years. A guy named Terry Pearl asked me to get involved, and then I got involved in 27 years. But I've enjoyed it. But fair play to the NCL, rest of the management. They've made me a life member, and I can still sit in meetings and different things, which I will still do to keep me. Keep my mind ticking over. So yeah, I'm still going to be involved in some other way, and if they want me to help out and anything, I'm always willing to help out.
Rugby League's secret weapon, Green Cooling, scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
So that was Joe Fitzsimmons. What a legend. I mean, not only is he involved in setting up an amateur rugby league club, he's played the game. You know, so we didn't even get to talk. We didn't even get to put it on there that he used to play over at Wigan St Pat's. He set a rugby club up. He has served the National Conference League in a number of different positions on that committee for 27 years. Well,
we were there, weren't we, after the game on Saturday, where Trevor Hunt presented him with his award for his 27 years service. All the guys and girls. To each and everyone on the feet, giving him a wonderful round of applause, which he thoroughly deserved. When they were talking about him before they actually gave the award, they were saying that 99% of that club, even down to the fences which have just been put up, are down to him. Getting his sleeves rolled up and getting people together and getting on to people. I mean, obviously he's using those 27 years of knowledge to great use, because the way that fence has gone up, and it's a really, really long fence, absolutely spot on for what they want, because I think there's 5 rugby pitches that it protects now, which is great. You've got to take your hat off to him, and great the way the club's supporting him as well.
I think this is a mark of a man as well. So I've just brought up the post which I put up on the Facebook page with the picture I did with Trevor presenting Joe with his award. Right, it has been viewed 20,600 times. There has been 282 reactions and 51 comments.
That just shows the measure of the man.
The mark and the measure of a man, and the fact that he is, so well respected. Long may his involvement continue. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you over the last couple of years, Joe, and I hope there's many more meetings where we can have a bit of a natter as well, to be fair. But yes, Joe Fitzsimmons, a true National Conference League legend. Right. Let's now take a look at how the NCL games unfolded last week. We'll start with the Premier Division before diving into Divisions 1, 2 and 3. And I want to start, first of all, with West Bowling. They're the early pace setters, to be honest. And a dramatic late try from Charlie Barrett sealed victory for Bowling, with Harry Williams' clutch touchline conversion proving decisive. Bowling led from the 5th minute when Lewis Taylor crossed, and further first half tries from Nat Wright and Daniel Harmshaw plus Williams' first 2 goals had them 16-10 up at the break. Mayfield responded through Deacon Connolly and Ryan Hogg, with Jordan Parr adding a goal. A try by Ian Higgins kept them in the contest before a stunning late rally saw Deacon Connolly grab his second, and Cole Connolly also darted over, the latter converting both of those tries. But Barrett's try in the dying moments, followed by Williams' nerveless fourth goal, snatched a thrilling victory for the Bradford side. So the scorers for West Bowling: tries from Charlie Barrett, Lewis Taylor, Nat Wright, Danny Halmshaw and Harry Williams. Goals from the boot of Harry Williams, who got 4 of them. For Rochdale Mayfield, 2 tries from Deacon Connolly, 1 each from Ryan Hogg, Ian Higgins and Cole Connolly. Goals split between Jordan Parr with 1, Cole Connolly with 2.
Now moving over, early pace setters as well. Westall survived a huge scare, recovering from a 14-0 deficit before withstanding a fierce late fight back from Loch Lane. Loch Lane flew out of the blocks with Morgan Jones scoring twice in the opening 12 minutes, both converted by Nathan Fozzard, who also slotted a penalty. Westall responded through Oscar Ellerington and Josh Oliver, both converted by Jack Townend, and took advantage of Danny Saldry's red card to edge ahead at the break with Jay Hampshire's try. The lead was stretched to 30 points to 14 early in the second half as Sonny Cooper and Leon Stewart crossed, but Loch Lane rode back. Jones completed his hat-trick and Lewis Price powered over twice. However, with only one of those 3 tries converted, the Castleford side just fell short. The hopes of dented when Harvey Keir was sin-binned in the closing seconds. Scorers for Westall were Oscar Ellerington, Josh Oliver, Jay Hampshire, Sonny Cooper, Leon Stewart and Jack Townend added 5 goals. For Loch Lane, it was 3 tries from Morgan Jones, 2 for Lewis Price and goals from 3 from Nathan Fozzard and 1 from Morgan Jones.
Over at York Acorn, they defeated Waterhead Warriors by 18 points to 14, and it was a last minute Danny Bywater try that secured the hard fought win for Acorn, ending Waterhead's unbeaten start to the season. Acorn led 8 points to 0 at half time thanks to a Matt Chilton try and 2 goals from Ant Chilton. His stint on this just on the sideline hasn't lasted too long, has it? Waterhead rode back after the restart with Gareth Owen crossing before Phil Joy also got a try. That was converted by Keegan Brennan to edge them ahead. Jordan Potter restored Acorn's lead, only for Danny Bridge to hit back for the visitors with 4 minutes left. This seemingly snatched the win, but Bywater had other ideas and crashed over in the dying moments, and Ant Chilton added the extras to seal the victory. So York Acorn's tries came courtesy of Matt Chilton, Jordan Potter and Danny Bywater, 3 goals from the boot of Ant Chilton. And for Waterhead Warriors, tries from Gareth Owen, Phil Joy and Danny Bridge, just the 1 goal, crucially, from Keegan Brennan on the day.
Champions Hunslet ARFC season continues to stutter as they went down 18 points to 42 against Thatterweath Crusaders, and a devastating first half from Thatterweath set up a dominant win as they ran in 4 unanswered tries to race into a 24 points to 0 lead. Kai Siani, Lewis Foster, Adam Carr and Dave Hull all crossed for Thatto, with Jamie Lester converting all 4. Hunslet finally got on board through Joe Abson, Finlay Bolback and Tommy Cork, all converted by Jordan Gale, but Thatto remained in control, extending their lead through Mason Phillips, Lester and Allroyd, while Leicester also added the late penalty. Both sides saw players sin-binned, with Dylan Thornton for Hunslet and Andy Lee Thatterweath shown yellow after a second half scuffle. Scorers were for Hunslet, Joe Abson, Finlay Balback, Tommy Cork, with 3 goals from Jordan Gale, whilst Thatterweath Crusaders tries came from Kai Siani, Lewis Foster, Adam Carr, Dave Hull, Mason Phillips, Jamie Lester and Holroyd, and goals 7 from Jamie Lester.
Over at Wharfbrow Hornets, they defeated Siddle 28 points to 12. Statement victory, this one. A dominant second half display saw the Hornets claim their first win of the season as they overturned a half-time deficit against Siddle. The Cumbrians stormed into an early 10-0 lead as Devon Sharp and Jack Megan crossed, with Greg Rooney converting once. Siddle responded strongly, taking a 12-10 lead at the break with tries by Jamie Greenwood and Josh Milnes, both converted by last season's top point scorer Lewis Hosty. However, Wathbrow dominated after half-time, Matt Hubie scoring within a minute of the restart before Conor Molyneux and Owen McCartney crossed late on to seal a deserved win. Siddle's Ben Hinsley was dismissed for allegedly punching, while Aidan Dawson of Wathbrow was sin-binned for rushing in. The scorers in this one, Wathbrow Hornets tries Devon Sharp, Jack Megan, Matt Hubie, Conor Molyneux and Owen McCartney. 4 goals from the boot of Greg Rooney for Siddle. There were tries from Jamie Greenwood and Josh Milnes. 2 goals from the boot of Lewis Hosty.
Dewsbury Moor Maroons made the long trip to Lee Miners Rangers.
Long? Is it? Is it that long?
It's long enough. I won't like to walk it, that's all I can say. Unfortunately, it was yet another defeat. 16 points to 8 they went down. Miners claimed their first win in a tight contest, securing victory through a second-half brace from Sam Arrowsmith. Lee struck first on 25 minutes through Will Ashurst, but Greg Colbridge's 2 penalties ensured the game was level at half-time. Arrowsmith then touched down 5 minutes into the second half, Owen Oil converting before Luke Adamson hit back for Dewsbury. But Arrowsmith's second try on 67 minutes, again converted by Hall, put the game beyond reach. And scorers for Lee Miners, Will Ashurst, Sam Arrowsmith got 2, and Owen Oil got 2 goals. Dewsbury Moor Maroons, tries came from Luke Adamson with 2 goals, which were both penalties from Greg Colbridge.
OK, moving into Division 1 of the National Conference League. And I want to start over at Shawcross Sharks, who had a fantastic win at the weekend, winning 52 points to 10. And basically, the Sharks ran riot, producing a dominant performance to crush Crossfields. The Sharks led 22-6 at half-time, with Louis Bayliss, Aaron Woods, Tennyson Neagle and Callum Barker all touching down, while Evan Stevenson added 3 goals. After the break, Brandon French bagged a brace, Bayliss and Woods each completed their doubles, and Alex Baines also got himself on the score sheet. Lewis Heckford and Stevenson both finished with 4 goals apiece, capping a ruthless display. Crossfields had brief hope when Jamie Abram crossed early on, Brad Stanway converting, but they managed only 1 further score as Ben Lomax touched down late on. So the final score there, Shawcross Sharks 52, Crossfields 10, with Shawcross tries coming courtesy of Louis Bayliss with 2, Arian Woods with 2, Brandon French with 2, Tennyson Neagle, Callum Barker and Alex Baines with 1 each, and goal split between Evan Stevenson with 4 and Lewis Heckford with 4 as well. For Crossfields, Jamie Abram and Ben Lomax grabbed the tries, Brad Stanway adding 1 goal. Now I can only go some way to summing up a game when we do these little write-ups, and I always like it when we can bring a guest onto the show to give us a little bit more aspect about what the game was, but I think more importantly what the day was like, because it was rather special day for Shawcross Sharks, and I'm delighted to be joined on the other end of the line by Brett Turner, Shawcross Sharks chairman. How are you, Brett? You okay, mate?
Very good, Parky. Thank you, mate.
I know I can't really do justice to a performance like that, first of all, but before I get to that, tell me about the day, because I know it was a really, really special occasion, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we were all about raising money for prostate cancer on Saturday. So our general manager of the club, Kitch, he's been suffering with prostate cancer. He's in remission currently. So we've made it our goal to raise awareness and to raise some money for them this year. So we started in November. We've had a couple of events, but Saturday was a big one, where we had a Legends team made up of ex-players that came together and played against the Silverback Rugby League Legends, which was a fantastic occasion. We had 2 sets of 3 generations playing, in myself, my father and my son, and Ricky Whiteman, who was our secretary, and his father, Keith, who played at Bradford and Wakefield and Mansfield, and also Ricky's son. So yeah, just a fantastic occasion. And then our second team followed that game on with a win. And then obviously the big win for the first team as well just made it a fantastic day. The club were absolutely buzzing afterwards.
I mean, that points to the fact that you've got a really strong club and you've got a really caring heart at the beating in the middle of that, haven't you?
Yeah, we like to look after our own, but obviously prostate cancer is something that affects a lot of men. So just getting a bit of awareness of that out there, and like I say, we've done a few different events now, but Saturday's game alone, we set a goal of raising £1,000, and if you include the gift aid, we're just short of £8,000 today. So that money for them is vital.
Wow, I mean that's a magnificent achievement, that is it. And I'm guessing, like you said, it's something that you've adopted for the whole season, so people can still donate, can they?
Yeah, so if you look at our social media, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can still see link there to donate. If anyone would like to donate, that'd be fantastic. The game's on YouTube, it was streamed live. So if anyone wants to watch me make an idiot of myself and a load of old boys, ex-players turning out against some ex-Super League legends, really, Keith Senior played. They had a fantastic team against us. And it was just, as I said before, just a fantastic occasion. Played in really good spirit, it was steady away. There were no big contact or not much of it. It was just brilliant.
I was going to ask you about some of the other people that maybe took the field for the Silverbacks. So Keith Senior was one of them, like you mentioned. Anybody else of note? Yeah,
they had Kyle Wood who played. He still looked handy. They had Carl Briggs played. Yeah, they had a very strong team.
Hey, they're names from my generation, then.
They had some good ex-amateur players as well, like Trevor Penrose, who was a legend in Conference League. He turned out.
Oh, he was class, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was class. Yeah.
So you mentioned about potentially having other events. Have you got anything else penciled in for the remainder of the season?
We've got nothing in concrete yet, but we've got some ideas, and we will be doing more stuff. The couple of bits we did back end of last year, we did a sponsored walk and we did a dinner. We raised about $5,000 between them as well, so we've done well up to now, but I'd like to reach 15 really. A couple more grand would be nice.
Well, anything that we can do from a show point of view to push, and obviously I'm sure that everyone involved with National Conference League will want to push that out as well, and help you reach that target, because it's a real worthy cause, isn't it? And like you say, there's so many people that they get prostate cancer now, and anything that we can do to raise awareness of it is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it affects more people than you realise. Not only the people that get it, but the people around them as well. I've seen that firsthand with Kitch at our club, who's a good friend of mine. So it's something that really resonates with a lot of us.
Okay, and that result as well. I mean, 52-10 for the first team. It's been a really good start to the season. But on this game, I mean, that sounds dominant. That.
Yeah, I mean, it's really encouraging to see. We went into the season really with a new coaching team. A lot of new players because we lost a few last year. Marchie went to Julesby and took 3 lads with him who were playing regular, so good on them. That's what we're there for, really. So that lads can play for us and then move on to better things. We had one retire as well, and the lads that have come in have really picked up where we left off last year.
You're definitely a club on the rise, aren't you? So if you look at, March's tenure, it got better and better and better and better, didn't it? And now you find yourself in Division 1, as you say, new coach, but, okay, coaches might change, players might change, but you look like you've got a little bit of consistency going for you early doors. And don't get me wrong, I'm not getting too excited because we're only 2 games into the season, but the signs are good, aren't they?
Yeah, it's early days. We'll have a tough test this weekend when Kells come down to us. I know they've lost the first 2, but they've been close games and they've always been a good side, so that'll be a bit of a test.
But from your point of view, what else have you got going on down at the club at the moment?
We've got tons and tons of junior teams. We're hoping that off the back of the Legends game, we're going to get a Masters team up and running, which has always been a bit of an ambition of mine since I'm a bit older, and I'd still like to try and have a run around. It's just something we've never quite got off the ground, so I'm encouraged by the interest we've got in that at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that perhaps doesn't get the light shone on it that maybe it should do from a community point of view, isn't it? The Masters game, I mean, it's something that it keeps people in touch with each other, and it makes the rugby league is kind of like inconsequential in comparison, isn't it? Combined with kind of what else you get from it.
Yeah, exactly. When we all got together on Saturday, I mean, the game was fantastic. What we did after and had a drink and everything were brilliant, but getting everyone in the changing room together again. That highlighted day really before the game.
And I suppose as well, also getting, I suppose, touching base with those guys again, and as you said, get him in the changing room, and I think as well, there's so many family ties, isn't there?
Yeah, of course there is, yeah. And get him in the changing room, get him playing a bit of Masters, but then maybe get him back involved in the club. People that feel like they're not connected anymore. I know just from Saturday's game alone, we've picked up a new committee member who wants to get back involved, so only good things can come of it, really. It
just shows, doesn't it? And sometimes, we all lose touch with rugby league, don't we? So it just shows that the door is never fully closed, is it?
No, it's never closed, especially at our club. We welcome anyone.
Well, Brett, been great to have a chat with you. Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed with what you've got going on. I wish you the best over the rest of the season. I just want to check, is my band still there? So I'm actually banned because of the...
You can stay away from Chat Park.
Right, okay. I look forward to following the results then in that case, Brett.
All right, Parky, good to speak to you, mate.
Thanks for joining us, and all the best,
no
mate.
Problem. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game at all grassroots levels.
So there it is, Parky. The band still stands.
It does, yeah. I was trying to get it lifted. I thought, mentioned to it, but, it's only like a great day for Shawcross Sharks. All three of all three of their sides taking part on the field. So they've got the start of a Masters team going there, haven't they now, with the guys that put the name forward to play in the charity game before everything. But yeah, 52-10, I mean, that's dominant against Crossfields.
Yeah, very much so. Crossfields having a bit of a sticky start to the season, aren't they? I'll be got to keep an eye on them, see how things go. Other results in the Division 1. Intros Bridge, they welcomed Youth and went away with a 26 points to 6, and when Inchbridge sit top of the table now, maintaining their perfect start with a solid 26-6 victory over Youth. The hosts dominated the first half, running in tries through Callum Hughes, Kyle Malone and TJ Boyd, with Reece Bushell adding a goal to give them a 14-0 half-time lead. Harley Axe hit back for Youth. Just 2 minutes after the restart, Danny Allen converting to reduce the deficit to 14-6. But Ince remained in control as Hughes and Boyd both crossed for the second tries, while Peter Valentine slotted 2 late goals to seal the win. The game ended on a fiery note, with Danny Dainty, Ince, Simbin for a high tackle, and Leon Watkinson from Newers shown yellow for retaliation. So the scorers for Ince Bridge: 2 tries from Callum Hughes, tries from Kyle Malone, 2 for TJ Boyd, goals 1 for Reece Bushell and Peter Valentine 2. US tries came from Harley Axe and goals from Danny Allen.
So we've already talked about this game in quite a lot of detail. Wigan St Judes 32, Stanningley 16, and the try scorers in that one: Callum Palmer, Harry Parkinson, Connor Parkinson with 2, Reece McNally and Danny Cassidy. 4 goals from the boot of Danny Cassidy. Those were, of course, the Wigan St Jude scorers. And for Stanningley, their tries went the way of Alex Ryan, Luke Townend and Dion Henry, with 2 goals from the boot of Dean Parker.
Woolston Rovers, they were over in Oldham to take on Oldham St Anne's and went down 30 points to 12. Oldham St Anne's proved too strong for Woolston, racing into a 20-0 lead before eventually claiming a 30 points to 12 victory. Callum Cashin opened the scoring with a brace before Sione... Go on, help me out here, Parker.
I've thrown you under the bus there again. So I would say Sione Ofa Tikafa Tonga.
He scored. Matt Whitehead and Kyle Saunders also touched down. Lewis Hollidge was flawless with the boot, converting all 5. Ulston fought back, James Tarpey scoring just before half-time and adding a second late on, but Craig Lawton's 2 goals weren't enough to turn the tide. Rovers' Ben Dixon was sin-binned on 52 minutes, adding to their frustration. Scorers for Oldham St Anne's, 2 for Callum Cashin,
Sione Ofa Tikafa Tonga scoring 1.
Matt Whitehead, Kyle Saunders, and 5 goals from the boot of Lewis Hollidge. Woolston Rovers, 2 tries for James Tarpey and 2 goals from Craig Lawton.
I want you practicing Sione Ofa Tikar for Tonga for the rest of the season, because I think he's going to end up top scorer at Oldham St Anne's, just to spite you, Steve.
I think he might, yeah.
Right, Egremont 20, Kells 16. What a result this was in the big Cumbrian derby. Egremont Rangers held off a late Kells fight back to take the Cumbrian derby spoils with this narrow victory. The visitors dominated early on, Jack Conway and Matt Beech each grabbing a brace, while Kyle Beckett added 2 conversions to build a 20 points to 4 lead. Kells stayed in the contest, with Ashton Sice going over in the first half before a late surge saw James Ennis and Lewis Smith score within 9 minutes of each other, both converted by Ross Gainford. But it was Egremont who held firm, seeing out the final moments to secure the league points. So 20 points to 16 to Egremont. Tries for them by Jack Conway with 2, Matt Beech with 2 goals from the boot of Kyle Beckett. I think 2 was the obvious number there, wasn't it, for all those? For Kells, they had tries from Ashton Sice, James Ennis and Lewis Smith with 2 goals from the boot of Ross Gainford.
Moving to Division 2 and the roundup there, kicking off with East Leeds, who were up against Normanton Knights. And East Leeds are really showing their pair of heels to everybody in that division at the moment, as they storm clear at the top and handing Normanton Knights a crushing 72 points to 6 defeat in the Battle of Division's early pace setters. The Knights 24-0 down before Stuart Biscombe crossed late in the first half. But that was as good as it got for the visitors, with Kieran Brining and AJ Wilson both ran in hat-tricks, while Luke Littlewood racked up 24 points, scoring a try and slotting over 10 goals. Callum Windley helped himself to a brace, and Kane Riley, Ryan Woffett, Shane Plunkett and George Clark also touched down in the rout. Late frustration saw Kieran Bailey and Jacob Crossland sim in for the Knights, whose only try was converted by Crosslands. So scorers for East Leeds, Kieran Brining 3, AJ Wilson 3, Luke Littlewood, Callum Windley 2, Kane Riley, Ryan Woffett, Shane Plunkett, George Clark, and Luke Littlewood was successful 10 times with the boot. Normanton Knights' tries came from Stuart Biscombe, which was goaled by Jacob Crossland.
Now Clockface minus 32, Driglington 6, and they've got an unbeaten start to the season as well of Clockface miners. I've been sent a match report by the coach Lee Cunningham actually, so I'd like to read it out if that's okay, Steve.
Fire away.
So, it isn't rare to hear the term "it was a game of 2 halves" being branded about the echelons of grassroots sport, but on Saturday afternoon the phrase was echoed around Clockface Miners Welfare Club as supporters shared conversation over a pint or 2 post-game. The half-time score was just a 6-0 lead to the home side after the evergreen Kenny Hughes was rewarded for his inside push on 7 minutes following a Lewis Geraghty dink through. This was picked up by Ben Daniels, who then fed Hughes on his inside. Geraghty converted, but that was the last of the scoring for the opening stanza as the game degenerated into a very bitty and scrappy affair. Both sides struggled to gain any consistency in completing their sets. The disappointment was etched on the faces of the Clock players as the lads took their spots in the dressing sheds at half-time. A bit of a G-up speech from the coaches prompted a change in attitude and accountability for the lads to focus as they took to the playing field for the second period. This was rewarded shortly after kick-off following a Driglington handling error, which just a few plays later, mercurial fullback Nathan Benson was running a great line off skipper Geraghty to go over in the left-hand corner. Shortly after, the Miners were in again, this time the right edge of the team taking the plaudits, as some dazzling hands from standoff Geordie Cresser and replacement centre Max Adamson put winger Conor McCartan through. With men still to beat, he stepped his way to the line to score underneath the black dot. With Geraghty once again converting, it took Clock to an 18-0 lead. Driglington were not about to lie down and allow the floodgates to open though, and gave a response of their own, and their man mountain of a number 10, Jacob Hustler, forced his way over just to the right hand side of the post. His try was converted, which brought it back to a 2-score game at 18-6 to Clock. The work put into the team from the excellent Paul Rigby during this year's pre-season on attacking shape was starting to pay dividends, as some really eye-catching footy was presented in the form of a right-to-left shift play that ultimately saw that man Lewis Geraghty providing another assist for the irrepressible back row forward Geordie Eccleston. On the conversion, Geraghty proved that he was human after all, and he missed it. But at 22 points to 6, the clock lads were now starting to sniff blood as they found cracks in a fatiguing Drigg defensive effort. With time starting to run down in the half, clock fullback and former Wigan Warriors Academy player Benson showed why he was a worthy winner of the Sponsors Player of the Match award, as he doubled his try tally for the afternoon, and his second was just as kind to the spectators' eyes as his first. Benson profited from being on the end of a minor set play, and his agility, speed and rugby intelligence did the rest to take him over the line. This extended clock's lead to 28 points to 6, and then on the stroke of full time, an excursion down the right flank of the Driglington defensive line saw the left edge combine, and loose forward Scott Honey he fended off the hapless Drigg number 7. As Honey broke through, he offloaded to his inside, and this team effort led to another assist for Lewis Geraghty, and he fed the long-striding back row forward Geordie Eccleston for him to join Benson in scoring his second try of the afternoon. Final score 32 points to 6, and just to run through there, Johnny Eccleston with 2 tries, Nathan Benson with 2, Kenny Hughes, Conor McCartan scoring, Lewis Geraghty with 4 goals. For Driglington, they got that try through that man-mounting prop forward, with Mike Sanderson adding the goal.
Thornhill, they were up against Skirler, and they held off a determined Skirler comeback, securing a 26 points to 20 victory to maintain their perfect start. The Trojans were 26 points to 6 up early in the second half, courtesy of a Ryan Mitchell brace and a Callum Gamble try, while Sam Ratcliffe kicked 4 goals. Skirler clawed the way back into contention despite losing Calvin Parker to a sin bin for a high tackle. Josh Atkinson and Ali McLeod cross, bringing them within 6 points. The Jordan Ward try, improved by Ratcliffe, gave Thornhill breathing space, but McLeod's second try 4 minutes from time, plus Matty Bauer's second goal, made for a tense finish. And the final result there was Thornhill Trojans 26, Skirler 20. Scorers were for Thornhill, Ryan Mitchell with 2, Callum Gamble, Jordan Ward, and Sam Ratcliffe was successful with 5 goals. For Skirler, it was Tom Gray, Josh Atkinson, Alan McLeod with 2 tries, and Matty Bowers with 2 goals.
Over at Hensingham, they struck twice late on, overturning a 12-10 deficit to eventually beat Barrow Island 20 points to 12 in another Cumbrian derby. With 7 minutes left, Miller Dalton and Adam Williamson both touched down, with Dalton converting the second to secure the win. Earlier, Corby Rickaby and Fletcher Holgate had given Hensingham a narrow lead, with Williamson adding a goal. But Barrow Island had led for much of the game, thanks to a Finn Dutton-Rosconi try and also one from Adam Ford, both of which were converted by Sam Jones. Tensions boiled over as Dan Wright from Barrow Island was yellow carded for a tip tackle, while Matt Williams of Hensingham and Jordan Staffieri from Barrow also saw sin bins for professional fouls. The scorers in this one for Hensingham, Miller Dalton, Adam Williamson and Corby Rickaby alongside Fletcher Holgate. Goals went the way of Adam Williamson with 1 and Miller Dalton with 1. For Barrow Island, tries from Finn Dutton-Rosconi and Adam Ford, 2 goals from the boot of Sam Jones.
Meanwhile, Pilksworks were at home against Dewsbury Celtic and claimed their first win of the season, holding off Celtic at 14 points to 10 in a hard-fought contest. Early tries from Alex Fitzhenry and George Hanna, plus a Kieran Napa goal, gave Rex a 10-0 advantage. Dewsbury Celtic hit back though through Charlie Harrison, but Aidan Jones crossed before half-time, sending the visitors in 14 points to 4 ahead. The second half was a real battle, with Aidan Jones later sin bin for a cynical player. Celtic took advantage when Casey Canterbury went over, with Jordan Nurse converting, but the hosts couldn't find a late winner. Scorers, Pilk's tries came from Alex Fitzhenry, George Hannon, Aidan Jones with a goal from Kieran Napper. And for Dewsbury Celtic, it was Charlie Harrison, Casey Canterbury, and goal from Jordan Hurst.
Meanwhile, over at Hull Dockers, they secured their first win of the campaign, racing to a 24 points to nil lead before eventually beating Ellenborough Rangers by 30 points to 16. A Lewis Sotheby brace plus tries from Dave Bade and Tim Heal put the Dockers in command early in the second half. But Ellenborough Rangers responded. Ryan Wilson, Dean Jones and Kai Gillespie all crossing, with Brett Stevenson adding 2 goals to reduce the deficit to 24 points to 16. However, Stevenson was sin-binned for dangerous contact and Dockers sealed their win late on with Heal's second score. So the scores for Hull Dockers: 2 tries from Lewis Sotheby, Dave Bade, and 2 tries from Tim Heal as well. 5 goals from the boot of Ollie Agar. For Ellenborough Rangers, there were tries from Ryan Wilson, Dean Jones and Kai Gillespie. 2 goals from the boot of Brett Stevenson. Okay, here on the 13 Pro Am Community Rugby League, we are in the middle of our roundups and we're going to Division 3 now of the National Conference League, and we're going to start off with what sounded like an absolute bazzer of a game. Saddleworth Rangers 31, Beverley 24, and Beverley, they fought back from 18 points to 6 down, but were pipped late on as Saddleworth Rangers secured a dramatic win. Sam Ogden, Connor Whitehead, Finn Winterbottom and Jack Bradbury had all crossed for the Rangers, with Whitehead converting 4. Beverley, who had earlier trailed, as I mentioned, 18-6, hit back with tries from Poskett, Casey Hutchinson and Ben Rowan, Poskett converting all 3 to tie the game at 24 points each. Then, with 2 minutes left, Whitehead nudged Rangers ahead with a drop goal before Stephen Neal sealed it with a last-gasp try, Whitehead slotting his 5th goal. So the scorers were Saddleworth Rangers, Sam Ogden, Connor Whitehead, Finn Winterbottom, Jack Bradbury and Stephen Neal. Goals were the way of Connor Whitehead with 5 and that drop goal as well, the all-important one which nudged them ahead. Beverley, they had tries through Josh Poskett, Casey Hutchinson, Ben Rowan and William Wilson with 4 goals from the boot of Josh Poskett. Now, I understand when I do these roundups, we can't go into sort of the level of detail that really I want to do as part of this. So, we've once again reached out. I've gone through my little contact book and I've got none other than Saddleworth Rangers head coach Miles Greenwood on the other end of the line. How are you doing, Miles? You okay, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all, mate.
I've sort of run through the scorers, but it did sound like a bit of an epic game, that. Give us a little bit of a flavour for it.
Yeah, it sounded like a bit of a roller coaster game then when you was kind of summarising what went on, and that's exactly what it was, to be honest with you. I mean, all credit to Beverley, they just didn't give up at all. Our lads didn't start the game too well. You know, we talk about in the changing rooms about starting games well, and it was possibly the worst start we could have had. But they seemed to kind of calm themselves, and we got a bit of momentum and started putting some points on the scoreboard, and then the lads just switched off. And like I mentioned, credit to Beverley, they just kind of didn't give up. They kept on knocking on our door, and then before we know it, we was tying on the scoreboard. Thankfully, our lads kind of switched on towards the back end of the game and managed to come away with the win.
They're a dangerous side, aren't they, Beverley? They're always one of those that can go well, and they've got the potential of points, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, that was clear to see during the game. They had some players in key positions that controlled the game really well and were a constant threat. I go far to label them as a bit of a nuisance for the opposition coach, because each time they got the ball, there was always threatening our line. There was always poking the head through. And they always seem to cause a bit of damage. Even at half-time, we spoke about a few of their key players, and we still couldn't kind of handle them in the second half. So, yeah, absolute credit to them. They've got some really good players. And like I said, they just wouldn't go away.
Let's look at your own side, though, because, I mean, it sounds like one of those games that could have slipped away, and it didn't. So, for me, I mean, that shows some great resilience, to be fair.
Absolutely, and that's something that we've been working on as much as you can in the training field throughout pre-season, and the lads kind of reiterated that, maybe this time last year they might have kind of not been successful and got the win. So it shows some improvement and progress, But I'm not getting too excited. It's the first game and there's a lot of work to do. But yeah, like I mentioned, I'm just really glad that for our first game, we actually got the win.
Yeah, you're leaving it to people like me to get excited, aren't you, to be honest?
Well, I just know there's quite a lot of work to do. And,
yeah.
You know, we've both been around the game for long enough to know that early on in the season, it's a bit of a lottery in terms of whether you're going to come out with the win or not. No one knows what the other team's like. You know, you've not had many games together as a group. So it's kind of a bit of a level playing field. So I'm well aware that there's quite a bit of work to do.
I mean, you know, speaking of yourself, obviously you're somebody that played over 200 games professionally for a good number of clubs. I think I was looking at some stats. You did 12 seasons as a professional, so you know you're able to bring a lot of that to Saddleworth, I'd imagine. But I guess for people that maybe aren't quite as aware of that, what have you been doing since you finished playing?
Well, I took up a strength and conditioning role. I've done some strength and conditioning at Rochdale, Swinton, Hunslet. So I've been keeping busy with that. And I've also had a career outside of rugby league. I was quite fortunate enough to kind of making sure I developed that career outside of rugby league, knowing how short the rugby league career is. So I've got a project management role for a construction consultancy. So again, that keeps me busy, something completely different from the sport. So yeah, it's kind of balancing the two, to be honest with you.
In a way, does that, because project management, I'd imagine that's a lot of, dealing with a lot of floating parts and things that are moving, very much like, I suppose, trying to take charge of a team. So how did you get the bug for becoming a head coach, I suppose?
Yeah, you could say, but I'm not too sure if it was the bug or the opportunity kind of came calling at a point where I was feeling a bit adventurous. But yeah, I suppose just going back to the two careers, they're quite synonymous in terms of you dealing with people and you're motivating people. So that comes to, that helps, and it's advantageous to have that skill set in your locker when you're coaching players, whether that's being the head coach or strength and conditioning coach. It's all about motivating players and dealing with people, essentially.
You've got to get people on your side, haven't you? And I guess going with you.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's understanding what makes people tick. And one of our first initial meetings with Saddleworth was I just sat the players down and said, "Look, lads, why are you lot here? What is your why?" type thing, without getting too deep and philosophical. But I just wanted to understand why the lads put on the shirt, week in, week out, training Tuesdays and Thursdays after grafting all day. These lads aren't getting paid, so I just wanted to understand what it is that motivates them. And, they were really honest. Quite a lot of the lads said they just like being around the team, socialising. Others were mentioning about, they want some success at the club. So it's just a case of tapping into that, really.
Have you been enjoying the head coach role? Again, I guess that being in a meeting like that would have given you a bit of, I suppose, strength and vigour for the season, really.
Yeah, you know what? I've really, really enjoyed it. A lot more than I thought, to be honest with you. It helps that we've got a great bunch of lads from the 18s, second team, first team. They are a really, really good bunch of lads. And accompanying that is, there's a healthy backroom staff that are really, really enthusiastic, really want to bring success back to the club. And then we've got a committee as well who are, again, really determined to bring some success back to the club. So it kind of all fits in together and creates an environment that, it's really enjoyable at the minute.
With what you'd said, did it perhaps surprise you when you first took on the role to find out that they'd be playing Division 3 Rugby League this season? Because, you're going back, it's probably 30 plus years, but, for a number of years, Saddleworth were like the top team in the country, weren't they, outside of the professional ranks?
Yeah, and, Saddleworth have got a close affiliation with my family. Family members played there, so I was always monitoring their progress or otherwise. And that was, I've got to be honest, that was part of the reason I took the job and took the opportunity, is because, Saddleworth are known as being a really, really good amateur club. So I wanted to be a part of kind of bringing that success back to the club.
And it sounds like you've got, with you mentioned there about like the 18s and the second team, it sounds like there's a good mix of, sort of younger players and the more experienced guys. I mean, I mentioned one there, Stephen Neal, who's perhaps at the other end of the scale, isn't he? But you've got, there's always, there has seemed to be a good group of young players that have been coming through at Saddleworth.
Yeah, there's a great mix. Like you say, you got Neil Day, you got Jack Brads and Josh Brads, and we've got Ryan Manili as well, who are kind of seasoned pros, if you like, and they're coming towards the back end of the career. And then we've got young Connor, who came in and played at the weekend, who's an absolutely fantastic talent. He really is.
Is that Connor Whitehead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he related to the other Whiteheads that have played for Saddleworth in the past?
No, he's not related to Sean Whitehead or Whitehead.
I just sort of wondered, because it's a name. Sometimes you look down on team sheets and you think, he's synonymous, or that's a name that's synonymous with a club.
At least I don't think he is anyway.
We'll perhaps get to ask him at some point in the season, to be honest, Miles. But
but like he is a real talent. Again, he's a great kid. He's great attitude. And I think he's going to do very well in the game.
So, as you said, it's like right at the start of the season, everybody's sort of buzzing, I suppose, to get back in it. I'd imagine the start of this season, though, has been a little bit different. And forgive me for asking, but it's just occurred to me that obviously there was all that no contact that was brought in, ahead of this season. Now, how does that work, and how were you able to, I suppose, get around that, really?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tricky one, because obviously we had to play the Oldham Standard Cup game. So it was kind of a case of trying to get ready for that, but without doing contact outside of the allocated time frame, if you like. But yeah, I suppose it's a new one, but I'm all for kind of protecting the players as much as possible. But we've got to be careful there, because I don't think eliminating contact in training is protecting the players. Obviously, you need to be weathered and kind of prepared for what's going to happen on game day. So I do think we need to be careful what we implement.
Yeah, this is part of what I was thinking as well, because, I mean, rugby league is one of those sports where you need to hone your body and get used to the knocks before you take the field, really, don't you? Because otherwise you could really do some damage.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a well-known fact, as soon as you input the contact into a game, it just changes the dynamics completely, physically and mentally. You're talking about a completely different set of physical characteristics and mental characteristics when you've got a 20-stone bloke running at you.
And if we can look forward, because you've got another home game this week. In fact, before I reflect on the home game coming up, I want to reflect on that Standard Cup game, because I believe there was a massive crowd that night.
Yeah, it was. It kind of exceeded everyone's expectations. I remember chatting with members of the committee before the game, and they said they was expecting a big crowd. I think it turned out there was 1,500 plus there.
That's amazing.
Oh, unbelievable! The police had to come in and shut down the road because there was that many people attending the game. It was great for the club. I mean, some of the pictures doing the rounds on social media, it's a proper packed house, and it was. It was a good game. Obviously, we was on the wrong end of the scoreboard, but credit to Waterhead, they played really, really well. And the game was kind of conducted in the right manner. It was tough. Both lads were going at each other, but then at the end of the game, come the final whistle, everyone was shaking hands and enjoying a pint in the clubhouse.
And to be fair, perhaps Waterhead have shown a way forward for Saddle. I know you probably don't want to admit that, being like local rivals in one respect.
No, I don't, mate.
But I was
I'm not admitting that.
No, okay. Well, okay, I'll admit it then. In that case, I won't put words in your mouth. But can you look at kind of the rise that they have and use that almost as not a yardstick, but as something to aim at yourselves?
Yeah, they've done well, haven't they? They've done well. There's no denying that fact. They've recruited really, really well, and new players have gone back from the pro game, and it seems to have all come at the same time. So yeah, we want success back at Saddleworth Rangers. We're well aware of how much hard work it's going to take to bring back that success. But like I mentioned, we've got an ambitious committee. We've got an ambitious club. So I'm hoping, kind of with time, that success will be back.
I'm liking the look of this league, this season, because you've got a couple of really long trips for you, Dissington and Millom. You've got perhaps a more local tie. I know I'm stretching it a little bit here, by the way. A more local tie against Lee East. And then you've got quite a few trips into Yorkshire and a couple over on Humberside as well, haven't you? So it's quite a well spread out division, and it looks like a lot of these clubs, they're all going to be thereabouts. There doesn't appear to be someone who's, at the moment anyway, that's going to run away with it.
No, and I said that to our lads, I said, if anything, because we've kind of come down, we've got a big target on our heads, so we need to perform week in, week out, and we know how difficult it's going to be. It's a really challenging league.
And looking forward to this weekend, another home tie and a game against Myton, who I'd imagine a lot of the lads will be aware of, having been in the same division as them for a number of years.
Yeah, they are. I spoke to the lads who've got more knowledge on the team than I have. But what we do know is they've recruited well as well. Also in the off season, they've been quite active. I'm led to believe. So it's kind of a complete different team, but all we're focusing on is an improvement. Like I mentioned, we know week in, week out we're going to be challenged. We know we've got a big target on our heads, and we know we've got to perform. So that's my message to the team and to the boys.
Miles, absolutely fantastic catching up with you again. I know I was saying before I pressed the record button, I don't think we've spoken for about 15, 16 years, so it's an absolute pleasure, sort of having
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game
no doubt
at
I'll
all
be
grassroots levels.
To have a catch-up at some other point in a few weeks' time, mate.
Brilliant. Cheers, thanks for that.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game at all grassroots levels.
Well, there we go. That's Parky having a chat with Miles Greenwood, who's taken over the coaching reins at Saddleworth. Nice blow there, Parky.
Yeah, great to chat to. And as we're saying there before you rudely cut me off, our paths first crossed several years ago when he signed for Lee from Widnes as a young player. He went on to play over 200 games professionally, for the likes of Halifax and a number of other clubs as well.
Did he play for Saints?
He was in Saints Academy.
That's where, that's how I know his name. To be fair,
that's where Widnes had signed him from. Actually, so he was one of those guys. Nowadays, it's if you're playing Widnes and you get signed for Saints, isn't it? But back in those days, if you played for St Helens, you got signed for.
It's if you play for Holton Farmers Hornets, you sign for Saints. Poor Widnes are cut out of it, unfortunately.
But a great bloke, and interesting hearing some of the things that he had to say about settling into that coaching role and it being a time and really wanting to lift Saddleworth from where they currently find themselves, because you speak to people up and down the National Conference League and they can't believe that Saddleworth are now in Division 3.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful ground, isn't it?
Oh, it's cracking.
Absolutely beautiful. So continuing on with the roundup in Division 3, we've got Myton Warriors against Dissington, and Myton Warriors made it 2 wins from 2, edging past Dissington of 14 points to 10 to move clear at the top. The whole side led 10-0 at half-time thanks to Tyler Fisher's brace and a Jack Sanderson goal. However, Dissington fought back through Kieran Worthington and Jack Penrice, with Scott George converting from the touchline to level things up. The horse piled on the pressure and looked set to snatch victory, but Sanderson turned the game on its head, pulling off one of those one-on-one steals and racing 70 metres for the match-winning try. Scorers for Myton Warriors tries two to Tyler Fisher and 1 to Jack Sanderson. Goals from Jack Sanderson as well. Dissington tries Kieran Worthington and Jack Penrice, and Scott George was successful with 1.
Got to say as well, after hardly picking up a win all season last year, this one will turn a few heads. So Featherstone Lions 10, Lee East 8, and Featherstone Lions started their season on a high, grinding out this victory over Lee East. Lee East actually led by 8 points to 6 at the break, with Matty Aspinall and Cameron Clark scoring the tries. Featherstone's Danny Johnson converted a Declan Nicholson try to keep them in touch before James Metcalf's touchdown 16 minutes from time clinched the win. So for Featherstone Lions, tries for Declan Nicholson and James Metcalf, 1 goal from the boot of Danny Johnson. For Lee East, there were tries from Matty Aspinall and Cameron Clark. So that goal from Danny Johnson proved the clincher.
Very much so. Millom produced a stunning late rally, overturning a 30 points to 20 deficit in the last 12 minutes to snatch a 32 points to 30 victory over Milford. Milford had led through a Callum Platt brace, plus tries from Kyle Tasker, Ryan Greenhall, Kieran Tierney and Joe Tharm, with Hamish McClintock converting 3. Millom's Tom Askin was successful with 2. Josh Blinkhorn and Jonty Peters kept them in touch before Hadley Thompson and Blinkhorn's second try stole the win. Peters converted both late scores, the match winner coming from near the posts. So scores for Millom were 2 for Askew, 2 for Blinkhorn, Jonty Peters, Hadley Thompson, and goals. Jonty Peters was successful with 4 for Milford, 2 for Callum Platts. Tries from Kyle Tasker, Ryan Greenhall, Kieran Tierney and Joe Tharm, with Hamish McClintock being successful with 3 goals.
Now, Keighley Albion, they had the conference return for the first time in 25 years, but it was Bentley who spoiled the party, clinching a thrilling 26 points to 24 victory. Keighley struck first as Adam Gaunt darted over, with Cal Hudson converting, but Bentley hit back with tries from Charlie Hamer, Grant Hill and Jack Craswell, 2 of which were converted by Kieran Lewis to lead by 16 points to 6. Gaunt's second try, improved by Jacob Cox, brought Keighley back within 4 at half-time. Hill's second score put Bentley further ahead, but Keighley turned the game on its head itself as Jack Kennedy and Cox cross, with Hudson goaling both for a 24 points to 20 advantage. With 6 minutes left, however, Gaunt was sin-binned for a professional foul and Bentley took full advantage, with Scott Smith racing over late on. Lewis converted from close to the touchline to snatch the victory. It finished Keighley Albion 24, Bentley 26. Bentley's tries courtesy of Charlie Hamer, 2 from Grant Hill, 1 from Jack Craswell and Scott Smith, 3 goals from the boot of Kieran Lewis. For Keighley Albion, they had 2 tries from Adam Gaunt, 1 each from Jack Kennedy and Jacob Cox. A goal split between Cal Hudson, who got 2, and Jacob Cox, who kicked 1. Wow, what a game. And really good crowd as well. I spotted a social media post as well from Keighley Albion saying that 546 people got through the gate there.
That's excellent, isn't it?
Brilliant.
And the bottom line is, as much as it was a defeat, I mean, you've got to look at it and take the positives out of that, in the sense of, they were very competitive there, and it's got to stand them in stead for other games that are going to be played throughout the season. So, sort of big ups to Keighley there.
Let's have a look through the fixture list, shall we, here, Steve? So, in the Premier Division this week, we've got Dewsbury Moor Maroons at home to West Hull. Tell you what, they've had one hell of a start to the season.
I was just going to say, they got it tough again, haven't they?
We're not even a month in, and they've played against Hunslet, and they've got a game against West Hull. Wow. Rochdale Mayfield are at home to the aforementioned Hunslet this week, while York Acorn have a titanic battle on their hands up against Siddle, who must be smarting after losing at Wathbrow Hornets. Thatto Heath Crusaders, they're at home to Loch Lane, while Waterhead also return home against West Bowling. So I think that'll be an interesting old tie, that one.
Yeah.
And then Wathbrow Hornets, they're at home to Lee Miners Rangers. Got a little bit more about that game, which I'll tell you about in a little while.
Yeah, in Division 1, Crossfields, they welcome Neworth over to Warrington. Egremont Rangers, they're up against Stanningley. Wigan St Judes, they've got a trip to Oulton Raiders. Shawcross Sharks, they will be taking on Kells. Wigan St Pat's, well, they're after a week off, they're up against Oldham St Anne's, and Woolston Rovers take a short journey to Ince Rose Bridge.
In Division 2, we've got Ellenborough Rangers hosting Thornhill Trojans, Driglington up against Hensinger, who are putting in another road trip. East Leeds host Clockface Miners, two unbeaten sides going head to head.
Good game, that one.
Hull Dockers, they're at home to Dewsbury Celtic. Normanton Knights looking to get back on the horse at home to Barrow Island. Skirlow up against Pilkington Rex in another game that looks like it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, and good to see Rex getting a first win of the season under the belt. Division 3, we've got Bentley, they're at home against Dissington, whilst Keighley Albion are on the road this time and they're over at Beverley. Lee East are up against Millham. Featherstone Lions, they travel to Milford, and Saddleworth Rangers are up against Myton Warriors.
Yeah, and I want to concentrate, Steve. We've got a game coming up this week, haven't we?
Certainly have, yeah.
We're over at Lee East, seeing them take on Millham. The two sides that play an entertaining brand of rugby, and I'm really interested to see just who Whitehaven have put out on dual registration this week.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of lads with a Millham persuasion who possibly could be pulling on the jersey again. So one of them scored 2 tries last weekend in Josh Blinkhorn, who, you know, I know from seeing him go through the England setup last year and the year before, he is one heck of a player around dummy half. So any sort of gap that Lee East leaves and he's in it. So I wonder whether he's done enough to earn a recall with Whitehaven, or whether we'll see him at the weekend.
It's going to be interesting, that, because the pitch of Lee East as well is very, very, sort of conducive to open fast rugby league, isn't it?
It is. You know, it's always a quick track, and I'm also interested to see what the forecast is going to be as well for the weekend. You know, because I also know as well that it can get very, very slippy.
Yeah, I can understand that too, which then makes it, if you're playing the low little grubber kick in there to bend the people's backs, it can make them, add that to the game, as it were.
I can imagine Lee East being quite disappointed with losing that first game of the campaign over at Featherstone Lions. They wouldn't have been expecting that. Although, having said that, we know, in having spoken to people at Featherstone Lions as part of this show, that they're a team that I expect to do much, much better this year.
Yeah.
They've been together a little bit longer, and they've put in a hard-fought effort there, haven't they, to claim the win. Great to hear Cam Clark is back in that Lee East line-up and scoring tries, because I think he'd... in the middle of last season, I think he went over to America, on a scholarship of some sort, so his return is definitely a boost for Lee East. I think we're in for a really, really good encounter. Obviously, you've got Millham, who last year were playing Division 2 Rugby League. Last year, Lee East flattered to deceive. They finished, outside the playoffs after coming within 80 minutes of getting promoted the season before, when they lost to Millham. Sorry to mention it again, guys, but we have to do these things, don't we, when we do these previews?
As they say, there's history.
There's history. There's definitely history between these two sides. I'm looking forward to returning to. I suppose an old stomping ground of mine, really, as well.
We've just got to be hopeful that the Wi-Fi's a little bit better than the last time.
Fingers crossed. We'll try and do a couple of checks before we go on air this time, but we have a way of trying to combat that this time, don't we?
We'll have to ask Derek, can we link onto the Leopards Wi-Fi?
The Leopards one, I'll have to remember the media password when I go on Friday night to cover the game against Wakefield. So we'll have the full coverage of that one. We're hoping to kick off round about 2:20 for those of you that want to tune in. I have put a message on the Millham part of Facebook when they were promoting this game, but we're keen on having as many people as possible tuning in, and you can catch us at 13proamcommunityrl.mixler.com. This week it's /events/415 7438. They're very snappy, these, aren't they?
yeah.
So
roll off the tongue, don't they, Parker?
13 Pro Am Community rl.mixler.com/events/4157438. And that's something that certainly when we have finished our broadcast, we upload it within a couple of minutes of the end, don't we? And then people can go and just tune in and listen back on 13 Pro Am Community rl.mixler.com.
Usually what happens as well, though, if you do go onto Mixler and you search for 13 Pro Am Community Rugby League, once the page comes up, you'll probably find straight away that the go live, the events indication will be there. So that's the one to click on that will get you through.
It also gets uploaded to YouTube afterwards.
That's right, yeah.
YouTube, just like this show.
YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, goes
we're everywhere.
Does the rounds.
Steve's done a fantastic job in making sure that we're on various platforms.
The more the merrier, as they say. What we do ask people to say is, if you do get the link during the week, or all the way up to Saturday, share it with all your friends who obviously support Milliman. And I know a lot of you support the team and manage to get down and follow them as much as possible. And on the other hand, I know it's a long way to come at the end of the day. So that's one of the reasons we like covering these sort of games. So we can give you the chance to listen to your team.
And also as well, you might be a far-flung Lee East fan that's now based somewhere else in the country. You might be, working in London. You might be in Southend. You might be at Bognor Regis for all I know. You could be at Skegness.
You could be at Benidorm for the Cheltenham Festival.
You could be at, still... Really? You'll have missed your flight, wouldn't you, if that's the case? Don't tell me they've been rerouting him through Heathrow.
Strange things happen, Parker. Things happen.
Okay.
But please share it as much as you can. And what I would say while you're on there, if you do obviously register and join our Mixler page, you will be notified of any games that we and obviously we go live with, and also any games, any of our podcasts that are put out, so you won't need to actually search for them. You will be notified. So that should be a really good game this weekend. Catching up with some, I know Parkers will be catching up with some old friends as well, and it'll be great to see Milliman on what they're doing this season along with Lee East. And it's great to bring you the live coverage, because we do enjoy doing it, I must say. We were there at the weekend at the St Judes match. I've got to say again, thanks to everybody who was down there, because everybody was accommodating. And for those of you who listened to either live or the match afterwards, it was great. Dave Myerscough came straight over and joined us, so we could have a quick chat to him straight after the game, and that is most appreciated.
That was superb, actually, wasn't it? And again, we got some really authentic reaction right after the game,
and it was honest. And we thought we'd seen a cracking game, and it was, like Parky said at the beginning of the show. From our point of view, we go to these games and we don't support either side. We just want to see rugby league to be the winner. And he came, and wasn't, over impressed, as it were. And we thought, wow, there was some absolutely stunning rugby league play. So that just shows you get the different view from different players. And also the beginning of the piece as well. That's when Parky did a fuller interview with Joe, and he filled us in about a lot more of his background. So if you want to go and catch that, you can get that on, as we've said, on all those platforms that we're on. What are we up to next, Parky?
Well, we've got our social media spotlight, and this week it's Loughborough Hornets. I'm going to pinch your line here because I know it says elsewhere on our little script what we do. But this week's it's Loughborough Hornets that are in the spotlight as they raise money for an incredible cause. I just want to take a moment to highlight their efforts and show some love for their community work. So this is a post that I saw which they had actually put on the 21st of March. And they said, please share. We're asking if the fantastic Facebook community to help us share this and help Loughborough Hornets with a fundraising for the Sick Children's Trust. In 2024, a local 6-year-old girl named Cleo Grigg was diagnosed with anaplastic large cell lymphoma. Thankfully, Cleo is now in remission, and to celebrate this and those at the Sick Children's Trust, our game this week versus Lee Miners is going to be all about celebration and raising money. The team will be wearing a specially designed shirt by Cleo herself, and the supporters will be decked out in charity tops too. To help boost fundraising, we'll be hosting a raffle where the tickets will be priced at £5 each, and there's some amazing prizes on offer. On this, we'd be extremely grateful if you could help support the day or raffle with any price or a voucher possibly. So this was a post obviously that Loughborough Hornets were putting out.
Yeah.
Cancer affects us all, but when it hits the children in our community, that's when it hits the most. We look forward to hearing from you, and this was signed by Amy Caddy, Frank King and Dean Rooney, all of Loughborough Hornets. And this, it really sort of like caught me eye, this. I mean, there's a beautiful picture as well of Cleo ringing the bell at the end of her treatment, to highlight this. And then a further post that they did, like a day later, it actually had Cleo going out onto the pitch where she's met by two players, one of which was Frank King, and they're wearing the kit.
Yeah,
it's a brilliant video. They've got it to the tune of "This Girl Is on Fire."
Yeah,
and it is stunning. It is stunning. It's one of the best social media videos that I think any club has produced in the last 6 months.
Yeah,
it's high praise indeed. But I think as well the cause of it. Go and check out on the Loughborough Hornets Facebook page. It is absolutely fantastic. I hope that this afternoon that they're going to have against Lee Miners Rangers is a huge success. I hope it raises a shed load of money for the Sick Children's Trust, and once again it's got our backing, and we'll be hopefully be having a conversation with Fran on the show next week,
just to see how things
have gone on, and to tell us a little bit about the day and whether there's going to be continued fundraising efforts as well. I genuinely, though, get across to Loughborough Hornets Facebook page. It is a stunning bit of social media, and I wish that more teams, when they're doing these charity sort of like things, do it in that type of format. I think it's really good.
We've got to say though, I mean, a lot of teams, like we've said the last few weeks, everybody's up the game social media.
Oh, they have.
But it just shows you just a little bit of like thinking out of the box. Can make things, just a little bit more appealing and show. And we're just watching it here at the moment. It's absolutely super. I love the case. I must admit,
the kit is so smart.
It's really nice.
Yeah, why don't Loughborough play in that all season? Wow. It's a stunning bit of social media.
Very good.
Very, very good.
So 10 out of 10 to Loughborough. Have a great day. Raise loads and loads of money. And as Parky said, you got our full support here at 13 Pro Am. Well, Parky, that's all we have this week. Thanks for joining us for another fantastic episode of the 13 Pro Am Rugby League show. Stay tuned for the action at the weekend of our live game, which is Lee East against Millham, and make sure to check out all your local clubs this weekend.
Yeah, so Lee East and Millham is our destination this weekend, but from all of us here, we'll catch you again next time. Keep supporting your community rugby league clubs and enjoy your rugby.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.